Welcome to the K9s for Veterans podcast, Operation Honor. Join us on this amazing journey. Hosted by Michael Tellerino, your guide through these inspiring stories along with special co-host Kenny Avery. In this podcast, we will share personal stories and highlight impactful programs that empower our veterans. Discover the impact that service dogs have in the lives of veterans. Tune in to witness heartfelt moments and transformational journeys. Get ready to connect, learn, and be inspired by our veterans' stories. Operation Honor is here to uplift and empower. Let's begin this important mission together.
Hello, and thanks for joining me tonight. My name is Mike Tellerino. I am going to be your host. I'm here with Ken Avery, our co-host, and Dan Miller, who is the director of K9 and the Forgotten Warrior Memorial as well. And I'd like to start out tonight's podcast talking about the importance of the ceremony at the Forgotten Warrior Memorial and what it means to the families of our fallen veterans. Dan, why don't you start out? You know so many veterans who you lost to PTSD suicide.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's an epidemic. Obviously, there's a stigma behind PTSD. It's continuing. It's a silent war that we're fighting as veterans, that this nation is struggling with. And the Forgotten Warrior Memorial, it's a one of a kind. It's sad that we have it, but it's needed. It's something that is in place to memorialize those men and women that, they gave their lives for the service for their country.
Right.
And it means the world to me that it's there. And it serves such an incredible purpose in a manner to allow the families to get just a little bit of healing
Right.
and recognition for their loved one's service.
Dan, I've talked to the families of each one of these veterans that we place on the memorial, and they all tell me the same thing, that they never thought anyone was going to recognize the loss of their child due to the service to our country. And it means so much to them to finally be recognized, for people who, for families that otherwise wouldn't have any recognition for their loss at all.
Absolutely. And it creates an educational value as well. It's raising public awareness about the realities of PTSD and what the impact of that is on our service members. And that, like I said, that sense of closure to the families, that's what it's all about. We've got the Vietnam Veterans Wall in Washington, D.C. We've got, I'm a former law enforcement officer as well. We've got the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington. We've got the Illinois Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Springfield.
Right.
And, those names are on the wall there. And now we've had the Forgotten Warrior Memorial where those names are in granite forever. And, I say this time and time again, you're never truly forgotten until your name is spoken for the last time. And
Right.
with those names up on that wall, it gives a place for people to come and look at those names, remember those warriors. They gave their lives serving this country. It's as simple as that. And no less than someone that goes out and dies on the battlefield. In my mind, there is no difference in the way that they serve this country.
Right.
Simple as that.
Well, I'm disappointed when we have a ceremony and we don't have a boatload of people out there honoring these families, letting them know that we appreciate the loss that they suffered. And we want people to come out and show their support to these families, because it means so much to them. It truly does. So, we have a ceremony coming up September 20th, and that's at the Shanahan State Park in Shanahan, Illinois. It's the Forgotten Warrior Memorial. If you'd like, you can go to our website. It's the Forgotten Warrior Memorial. Check it out and learn about what we're doing to help our families of our fallen veterans get some closure for the loss of their child. It hurts me to say that we're adding at this ceremony 10 names.
Yeah.
If we had to add one, Dan, as you know, and Kenny, you've been at this ceremony time in and time out. It never gets any easier. And when I talk to these families, they're so grateful that somebody's finally recognizing their loss. Not that they want to be recognized as, hey, my son died for his country. They just want the support of people behind them, recognizing their loss. It means so much to them. So if people are out there and they're listening to this podcast, take some time, September 20th, Shanahan State Park, come out and show your support to these families. Kenny, you've talked to these families when you're out there.
I met a young lady a couple of weeks ago in a restaurant with Michael, and she walked up and she goes, "You're Michael Marino." And so I stopped, and she goes, "Because of you, I have somewhere to go to talk to my brother." And I asked, "What, your brother's last name?" And so she told me, and anybody that knows me, I have a difficult time with this.
Right.
But somebody told me, he goes, "You shouldn't be sad. You should be happy that this person has somewhere to go and closure." And like Dan said, the name's going to be there for eternity. And it would give me a little bit different outlook. And it made me feel a hell of a lot better knowing that I'm involved with this. And to see the families, yeah, it's rough on them, but they get that little bit more bit of closure.
Right.
And like you said, we put on one heck of a ceremony, and people really need you to come out and see and see how this is all done and how well everything goes for these families. It's a great honor.
It's all about honor and respect.
Absolutely. And, I think that, the memorial fosters a sense of community. It creates a sense of unity amongst veterans, family members, and the supporters of the memorial. And for the number of times that I've been out there for the ceremonies and heard the speakers and heard Michael speak and heard, the state's attorney speak or the families talking to them and watching the ceremony, after the families have pulled that tape off and seen the name and watched the mothers or the other loved ones touch that name and having the honor guard come up and hand that flag encased in oak over to that family member. You can feel it in the air.
Right.
And that it's giving that family that sense of closure, which we keep going over. And I've gone out there many a time on my own to just sit and reflect, not just about my life, not just about the loss of my friends, my fellow Marines, but it doesn't matter what branch of service, 22 a day. That's the number that the DOD puts out. Is it more? Is it less? One is too many. And as I said at first, it's sad that we have this memorial, but it is needed because we're in a fight. And, that fight is against PTSD, suicide, and we're just trying to do the best we can to recognize those that gave their lives in defense of this country.
When I'm giving my little speech at the memorial when we have a ceremony, I end with, if there's nothing else you leave here today with, leave here with the knowledge that we're here to honor these veterans because they are true heroes in every sense of the word, and they need to be honored for their service and their sacrifice to our country. So if nothing else, take away that message.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely true. It's a shame what we're not doing for our veterans that are suffering from PTSD. So let me say again, September 20th, the Forgotten Warrior Memorial, Shanahan State Park. The ceremony starts promptly at 1 o'clock. Come out and please show your support to these families. It means so much to them. It truly does. Which takes us on another journey, which we're going to talk about. You know, 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, when I started K9 for Veterans with Reggie Latuca, who was our vice president, um, it was great what we were doing for our veterans. But Reggie and I both decided, what are we going to do for the veterans that we couldn't help, that we couldn't save, that took their life because of that PTSD? We decided we wanted to build some kind of memorial to honor them for their service to our country. And thus the Forgotten Warrior Memorial was built. Took us 3 years to do it, but we did it. And if there's any lasting pleasure that I have is when I see those families come up to that memorial and they're so grateful that somebody finally is honoring their child. It's such a burden, such a loss for these families. I couldn't imagine myself as a father of three. I couldn't imagine losing one of my children. I just couldn't imagine. I just couldn't do it. It's just too hard to even fathom. So on that note, we're going to talk about service dogs and how they can help prevent our veterans from taking that final step to where they commit suicide because of their PTSD. Dan, I think I'd like you to talk about what this means to you when you got Rocky, what it means to have Rocky, and how it's helped you with your PTSD and TBI.
Absolutely. You know, I've told this story. I could tell it a million times and a million times more. You know, I'm a Marine veteran. I served in Iraq. I was diagnosed with a TBI. I was diagnosed with PTSD. And when that happened, like a lot of veterans, I refused to believe it. I didn't want to believe it. You know, I tried to tough my way through it. I also served as a police officer, and there was concern there because of being diagnosed and the stigma that comes around with having PTSD. I did a lot of self-suppression, and meeting Michael and, you know, knowing about canines and getting involved with canines. And eventually that led to the point where I ended up, you know, interviewing and getting Rocky. And Rocky is a German Shepherd. He's sitting right here next to me. You see me moving, I'm giving him a little head scratch. But when Rocky came into my life, he's a rescue. All the dogs from canines are rescues. And when I first met Rocky, and, you know, I got to tell you, when he put his head in my lap, I knew that was it. We were brothers for life. And we started a training program, and it's an intense program. The veteran trains with the dog, and, you know, not knowing much about, I had dogs before, but, you know, I never trained them. I never trained with them. They were just house pets, but this goes a lot farther than that. The bond that I have with Rocky, I have another dog. I love that dog, but I don't have the same bond that I do with Rocky. And what happens with Rocky, with the training with Rocky, he understands when I'm having a bad day. He's trained to interrupt these episodes I have with PTSD when I call it going down the rabbit hole, the depression, the anxiety. He stops me from isolating, which is another symptom of PTSD. If I have these mood swings where 1 minute I'm happy, next minute I'm sad, he interrupts that. I call it changing my channel. And what I mean by that is he senses when these are happening, and he'll come up and maybe nibble my hand a little bit. And I'm not talking about biting me. Maybe he'll lick my hand. Maybe he'll nudge me. And Rocky is he's 5 now. I've had him for 4 years, and he's 113 pounds. So when he leans into me, I know it. And he's not mean. He's nothing but gentle and loving, but he can sense when I'm having an issue. Right. And with the TBI stuff, you know, I've had seizures. I'm on medication for it. And he knows, you know, if I go down, if I start to sit on the ground because I'm getting dizzy or something's wrong, he'll come over and he'll set himself down near me so that I don't fall down or I don't hit my head. He's very protective when it comes to that. And he helps me with anxiety. He's there with me all the time. And he has bettered my life in so many different ways. I mean, he's my partner. He's my friend. He's like my son. And, we go everywhere together, and I don't see my life without him. And that's because of Canines. And, Canines' mission, hey, we provide fully trained service dogs to veterans and first responders because make sure we can fight PTSD, we can fight the TBI issues, and we can fight the battle that is always out there that we're fighting, that silent one I keep talking about, which is veteran suicide. And I will go as far enough to say that if it wasn't for Rocky,
you're good, bro.
If it wasn't for Rocky, maybe I wouldn't be here. And I know I'm here now because he gives me purpose and responsibility. And, I like having that purpose and responsibility with him in my life. And that's because Canines gave him to me, and we have each other, and, we are on this journey together.
Dan, I remember when you came into the program, you were like, oh, God, is this for me? Is this going to work? I knew you liked Rocky right away.
Right.
But what's unique about our program is we just don't give you a fully trained service dog, which wouldn't do you any good. Our veterans actually do one-on-one training from the ground up. I call it Boot Camp 101 with their service dog. And the bond, because of that training that they do together from the ground up, that creates such a strong bond with them. In the beginning, it's like, oh God, am I ever going to get this? And you know what? Within a 2-month, 3-month period, it just clicks. And
absolutely,
everything just falls into place. And when I see them transition from and just coming into the program 3 months on the line, and Kenny, why don't you see that every time you're in training, because you still go to training. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've had 2 of the greatest jobs in the world. I'm proud to serve in the United States Navy. 10 years, fantastic. And now I work for this organization. And I have watched, and this is the coolest part, you watch these people come in, apprehensive, they're nervous, and a lot of us, we don't really like talking. And I watched the progression, and it takes 2, 3, 4 months, and next thing you know, they come in, they're smiling, they're talking, they're not hiding anymore. There's times we forget that, hey, we're there at training. And there'll be 4 or 5 of us standing around talking. And I watch them open up. And that is, it's so cool about what I do. And it actually helps me with my issue. And they don't realize that they're helping me. Okay. Right. And that's the cool thing too. But just to watch the smile and the time, just everybody hanging together. And it doesn't matter what branch you're in. We all have a common purpose. But the guys and girls, it's so nice to watch what that dog has done. I have one. I had night terrors, and my dog, he now lays there next to me on the bed, and he's got his head on me and nudges, like Dan says, nudges you. And okay, I'll wake up, realize, and then I feel my dog, and then I can go back to sleep.
Dan, we were at an event last night, and you got up to give your speech about Canine, and what Rocky has done for you. And no matter how many times you get up and speak, you're so emotional and so sincere that it has an effect on you when you're talking to people. And Rocky sensed your, whatever you want to call it, nervousness, apprehension,
yeah.
whatever it was.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he started leaning against you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I thought he was going to knock you over.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
And he leaks a little bit, he whines just a little bit because he knows that it's stress. And, he knows that I'm a little nervous, and he gets it and he leans in and he leaks a little bit, and it's just him letting me know that he knows, hey, you're a little stressed out, but I'm here for you.
Right.
And, it's just, I've made friends through canines that I think I know are friends for life. And I get when I go to training or I get to go to these events and I get to talk to other guys and girls that have the dogs, it's always the same response of, it's bettered my life. And I just think this is important to say that, I want to make sure I get the number right, but we've had over 100 dogs out there to service members, veterans, first responders that have these dogs, and we haven't lost a single one to suicide.
Right.
And it's because of the bond. I think I know, not I don't think I know it's because of the bond that's made with the dog. It gives you back that sense of importance that maybe you think you've lost because you're out of the service or you're retired or whatever. And
Right.
it gives you that purpose that maybe you think you've lost and that responsibility. And, it's a proud fact that, the people I meet, it's always the same thing. This is my dog and I'm responsible and we're responsible for each other. And, Canines gives that to people. And to me, it's a second chance on life. To me, it's a path to recovery, and it's a continuing thing because training never ends. And, it's just a wonderful thing every day to be around him and have him with me. And it's just a joy.
When I walk into the training center, whether it's Joliet or the Chicago Training Center, and I walk in and I just observe the training class going on. When I see these veterans training with their dog, I mean, I just get such a good feeling that I see these veterans on the road to recovery because of that service dog.
Absolutely.
And that, to me, there's no greater satisfaction that I get other than watching them bond with that dog. That dog becomes their everything, just like Rocky is your everything.
Oh, yeah.
Penny, just like yours is your everything. And that's why we do what we do. We gotta do anything we can to prevent 22 a day happening ever again. We're not doing enough to help our veterans. And if these service dogs can help one veteran not take that final step, then we did our job.
That's the whole thing.
Yep. And
Right
I want
there.
to add, not just last week, I took Rocky in, part of the care is going to see the vet. I see the doctor, everybody, anybody that's a veteran or first responder, you're going to end up in the doctor. Everybody does. But I had to take Rocky in to get checked up. And, it was just a relief to know, part of the canine promise, Canines for Veterans promise is the food and the medical. So taking Rocky in and having him checked over, from tail to snout and getting all that information back, and he's good to go, and everything's all right. But having that being taken care of, by canines, and that's just an incredible benefit that canines offers. And the same thing with the food, knowing that I don't have to worry about that is something that takes a burden off of me and helps me to concentrate more on the training, concentrate more on just doing a good job with Rocky.
I've always said if we were going to do this with canine, we had to do it right. It doesn't do any good to give a veteran a service dog or a first responder a service dog and say, here's another bill that you can potentially have to worry about
Right.
incurring. You know, it doesn't, I mean, that's a liability to them. That's stress that they don't need. We take care of all the basic medical care for that dog for our veterans because we do not want that veteran to be burdened with that responsibility. Like, oh, what do I do now? Is it between me eating or me getting my dog the shots that it needs?
Right. Absolutely.
So that's one of the main reasons why we decided to take care of the basic medical care for these service dogs. You know, um, again, you guys both see it every day. You talk to our veterans, and it just means the world to them. It really does. Let me just say that if anyone out there listening knows of a veteran, first responder suffering from PTSD, traumatic brain injury, or military sexual trauma, they need to contact K9 for Veterans. Please give us a call, 773-854-1000, and we'd love to talk to them and see how we can help them get a service dog and hopefully change their life.
Absolutely. And, you know, on the same vein, in a sense, you know, we are a nonprofit. And, you know, if anybody you'd like to volunteer or look at donating to help us, please, you know, once again, you know, go to Canines, go to the website for Canines, and you can read about it. There's a lot of information, photographs. You might even see my silly mug on there, but you'll see the good-looking dog Rocky that I'm with. But it's a way to support Canines for Veterans. It's a way that allows us to continue with our mission, which is to give quality trained service dogs paired up with veterans or first responders that need them, so we can continue this fight. We can continue to help veterans and first responders and beat you know, this thing with the PTSD and traumatic brain injury, and trying to stop people from ending their lives because they think there's no other way to go.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. You know, we just can't do enough for our veterans. You know, we just can't. You know, and I think raising public awareness, letting our elected officials know that we need to do more for them.
Yeah.
That's number one, because until we stand up for these veterans and let our elected officials know that they're not doing enough for our veterans, they're not going to it'll never change. So together and united, hopefully we can make a difference. Guys, I want to thank both of you. Kenny, you're my right-hand guy.
Thank you.
Dan Miller, I love you to death.
Thank you. Love you guys.
You know, bringing you on board was such a huge asset to K9. We're so proud of you and what you do for K9. You're just an amazing asset to our organization, because what you do, you do from your heart, and it shows. Yeah. Kenny, same with you. So, guys, God bless both of you. And again, let's talk about July 19th. I didn't mention that. We are going to be at the Forgotten Warrior Memorial in Shanahan State Park, Shanahan, Illinois. We're going to have a bike run starting out there at Shanahan State Park, Forgotten Warrior Memorial. 9 o'clock is lineup. Kickstands up, I believe, at 11. And we're going to go on a really awesome ride that Lori put together. And we're going to wind up at post 13 and American Legion post, my post 13 in Plainfield for the after party. And most important thing I don't want to forget is September 20th. Please come out and support these families. Let them know that we care.
Absolutely.
So
yes, please come out.
With that, gentlemen, I'm going to say goodnight and thank you for all you do for our veterans and for K9.
Thank you, and take care, everybody. Have a good evening.